Good morning, folks. Good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are. I'm John Mullen, the Energy Evangelist, and this is Laura.
Yeah, I'm Laura Short, the Queen of Green, and together we are clearly net zero.
Yes, we are. So we're running this webinar to introduce you to, helping you to save money and not pouring that money down the drains. It can take all forms.
Yeah.
Like what?
So we're looking at reducing your carbon footprint primarily by introducing you to the Clearly Net Zero Masterclass. But the ultimate aim of the masterclass and producing your carbon footprint is that you save money, your business becomes more efficient and more sustainable.
Yes. And to help us get a bit of feedback from you guys, we would love you to log into a little bit of an application called Slido.com. You can either use the QR code on the first slide, or you can go to Slido.com and use the number 209-1313. And that gets you connected to this live event, as it were.
Yeah, we want to make it as interactive as possible. So there's a few questions to answer further on, and we'd love you to participate as much as possible.
Yes. So let's get into it. A little bit of background about myself. I'm John Mullen, the Energy Evangelist. I've been all sorts of things, including business analyst, commercial electrician, software engineer, owner of IT companies. I'm also into property development. And from that, I've grown an independent commercial energy brokerage. But that's whenever it started to get really interesting, because I started to get far more interested in energy and carbon solutions.
Yeah.
So that's the interesting bit.
And I'm Laura Short, the Queen of Green. I've been an environmental business consultant for the last 15 years, and I've worked primarily with businesses, small businesses, to help them to reduce their energy usage, reduce their resource usage, and help them through a scheme called Green at Heart, whereby they get a accreditation for the environmental performance that they have achieved. And over the years, I've developed that into carbon management, ISO systems, and then together with John, we've developed the CNZ Masterclass program. But SMEs are really where my heart lies, and I love helping them because it means a lot more to them than a big corporation.
Oh, that sounds good. Let's keep on going. Today's plan. If you don't plan, then you never get to the goals. These are the goals at the beginning to aim for, and goals at the end to check where we've actually been successful, hopefully. So you can read it there for yourself, or you can just keep on following. Okay. We've worked with each other, Laura and myself, for the past 4 years. And, well, both of us realized that the whole economy was moving forward, but it was going really, really slowly. Always talking about change, but actually not getting their finger out.
Yes.
But all of us are looking for solutions. Everybody's talking about electric cars and renewable energy, but what makes it really, what's the thing that's going to save us money, make life easier for us?
Yeah.
The big corporations were built on petrochemicals and coal, and for the last 100 years, they've actually been getting stuck in a rut, struggling to change.
Yeah,
So,
and we know that change needs to happen because we are in a climate crisis. We know that nothing is going to slow down unless we make some changes. So we decided to put all those arguments to one side and get on with the job, helping our clients to make clear, informed decisions with the programme.
yeah. So these are the issues that we're finding as we talk to clients. When we come, you get together with a group of friends, chatting away about all sorts of things, and somebody comes up with an idea. Actually, is that good for your business? It's an idea. The idea might be good, but does it fit in your business plan? Does it fit to save you money? Or is it going to be an expense and then you find the right solution after that? So we've created a plan helping people to work things out, checking as to whether this specific project that you've come up with is the right solution for you, or is it going to be a right solution for you in 1-2 years?
Yeah. And as far as these solutions go, obviously these are working towards net zero, which we all need to achieve by 2050. But what does net zero actually mean? We realise that people sometimes find this difficult to understand. They don't know whether it means don't burn things or don't generate any carbon. So let's just have a look at what it really does mean or doesn't mean.
Okay.
So defining what carbon net zero actually is, there's a lot of ideas thrown around. Is it the same as carbon neutral? Does it mean no carbon at all? Well, both of those are wrong. And here's the big difference between them. Carbon net zero is the amount of greenhouse gases that are caused, balanced out by the amount of greenhouse gases taken out of the atmosphere over a time period. So when we're talking about greenhouse gases, these are measured in tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. So it takes all those different greenhouse gases, puts them together in one measure, and it's the balance of the two, what's emitted into the atmosphere and what's taken out.
So the difference between carbon net zero and carbon neutral is, number one, carbon neutral means that you can compensate for your emissions. This is accomplished using carbon offsets. And that actually means that somebody else is responsible for your problem. So they may do it, even though you've paid them for it, or they may not do it, even though you've paid them. So who's the person who's responsible for the carbon emissions? That's why we go with carbon net zero. Carbon net zero requires you to actually get rid of your emissions through efficiency, electrification, renewables, or other means. That means that you are taking responsibility for your problem. Big, big difference.
Yeah. And it might sound great to just throw some money at something and say, well, let somebody else just offset our problem. But it's not going to take that problem away. The problem is still going to be there. It's just that you're then paying extra money to somebody else to supposedly take that problem away.
And it's actually costing you money over the long term.
Yeah.
So let's get back to other things.
In terms of, again, the issues that we've faced when we're talking to clients, in terms of responsibility, everybody seems to be responsible, and they are, for their own emissions, but no one's actually taking responsibility, like we just talked about with offsets. And it sounds confusing, but then how do we define those goals if nobody's taking responsibility? And then where do we start? What are we looking for? We need to be able to measure how much we're polluting and have that baseline in place so that we can actually measure what our improvements have been. And there's lots of free tools out there being offered to help you do this, but we found really that there's very little in the way of a clear reporting method. There's lots of different solutions for businesses, but then they get confused knowing which is the right one. And if it doesn't make you money, why would you bother?
Okay, over to you folks. What's stopping you going green? If you're a business owner or an employee, we all want to know what's getting in the way of your business moving forwards towards net zero. Or a blunter question, what's stopping you from saving money? So I'll give you a minute or two. And
yeah, we'll just have a look at some of these answers as they come in. Yeah, your boss. We get that one a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, and it is a real valid point though, because a lot of the time, if the company owner or director isn't bought in to the concept of reducing costs, being more efficient, being a sustainable business, it isn't going to move forward. You could have a workforce that's fully bought in to going green, but if your company owner isn't bought into it, you're never going to get the financial backing that you need for that. So it's really important that this is driven from the top down as well as the bottom up as well. Don't know where to start yet. That's a really good point, and that's exactly why we would encourage you to come on the masterclass program, because it's putting businesses together that also don't know where to start and giving them that starting point, just pushing everything else to one side and saying, right, we'll draw a line in the sand and we will go from here, getting your baseline together, getting the data gathered, and then moving forward to make really simple, accessible solutions.
I'm just looking at those three answers. Just sort of wanted to make a bit of a story out of those three. The boss is confused, so he's going, I don't know, I don't really care, because he doesn't know where to start. And you're trying to help them, but they're pushing back because they're going, oh, it's just going to be a waste of time. It's just going to cost more money. So there isn't the money to invest. This is one of the things which we try to get across to people. The most important thing is to do the simple things first. It might be looking after, switching things off. It might be looking at your timers and your thermostats. It might be looking at your aircon units and making sure that they're cleaned so they're running more efficiently. It might be that you've got miles, or whatever size your office is, of pipe work which is unlagged, and there's heat coming out in places where it's not actually being used. So it's not relevant to you. So many other things. That's just the beginning, off the top of my head. And you
can have those for free.
Oh, yeah, too right. But those things, we're seeing cost savings of 20 and 30% just on those few things. There's where your money is.
Yeah, there's your investment.
Yeah.
So do the small things first and then reinvest.
Yes. So if you are trying and struggling to get your boss to let you start doing something with this, help them to understand where they're going to make savings in the first place. And then that builds up a pot of money, which he will be very thankful to you for saving. And then you have to drive home, okay, we can do more.
Yeah.
Because we can.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's always more you can do. And there's always, better solutions out there, more appropriate solutions for your business. But start with the small stuff.
Yeah. But it's thinking all of this through and helping you to work out what ideas are good for you. So many ideas being pushed around the place at the moment. They're pie in the sky at the moment, but there are some of those which have been running for 20 years. Look at solar panels, 20, 30 years. And in that time, the price of a solar panel has dropped dramatically. One solar panel used to cost you, 400, 500, 600 quid. And now you're buying them for, 2 figures. And you're going, how much? Big difference. So it's getting the right solution for you guys. Anyway, I'll stop ranting. Okay, so we threw away all the rubbish all of the freebies and started to look for the right tools for the right job. But we needed both you, the clients, and industry leaders to have a look at the structure and make the statement, this is the standard that we want. There's so many different vague statements going around, but there's two which we are working on. One of them specifically, SECR, Streamlined Energy and Carbon Reporting. If you look at one of those reports, that will be the same as the company next door who's also using SECR.
Yeah.
Simple. You can compare it.
Absolutely. And the system needs to stretch as well, from big business with their complex needs down to small businesses. And with that SECR data, it's transferable between any size of company, every type of company, and it has to be right in the form and the cost as well. And we found that was the most effective tool for us. And it needs to be built for the real world as well, working for real clients. And we found that a lot of the time when companies are being asked for their environmental accounts, that's the standard that they want.
Yes, yes. Okay, so these were the aims that were established. We needed good, clear definitions which helped you see where you are going, with a structure that made sense, helping you to grow and improve your business. And it had to be able to be molded for your individual business needs.
And that's when we created Clearly Net Zero.
Yes.
So we found that when we brought people together to learn and to share their experiences, the journey wasn't quite so big and daunting. From those people that said, you know, I don't know where to start, I don't know what to do, sharing it with other people means that you're able to overcome those initial anxieties before you start. And we knew that our clients needed to be able to measure and make informed decisions in a step-by-step fashion. We also had to find the best and the most cost-effective business analysis tool to prove these solutions were correct. So we developed what we call the 3-pillar model.
Yeah. Something like this.
Yes.
Oh, here's one I prepared earlier.
Yes. Very Bluebeat. So we started thinking about like-minded businesses and how if we built a community that could work together and grow together from each other's experience, then that learning gives us all a competitive advantage by sharing those cost savings and that business intelligence as well.
Yeah. So take, for example, our own business. We started to see collaboration as the two of us worked together. We had a mutual frustration about where we were aiming for and where the economy wasn't moving. But because we shared the same frustrations as our clients, we knew that we'd found a reliable information that we could use for any business.
Yeah, and out of that community and the collaboration, we started to find confidence to make decisions that are based on facts and not fiction. This fact-based confidence is only possible when you have the data to back it up. And we need to know that we're doing it right. So we need a baseline to measure against. And most SME businesses have never had the ability to create that baseline because old meters don't give enough information. They can't necessarily read bills correctly, not out of anybody's fault, but because the companies don't actually make them easy to read specifically for that reason. So it confuses. But now we've got half-hourly meters, we've got a lot more information. And once we gather that data for a baseline measurement, then we can start to make comparisons and create goals and performance indicators to show us if our energy is becoming energy use is becoming more or less efficient.
For example, Colleagues' business grew over the past year and they now had double the amount of employees. But because of their data measurement of energy used, they were able to show that overall the company had reduced their carbon footprint by 18%. even though they doubled the number of people. That was comparing it to last year. But when they measured per employee, they had reduced their carbon footprint by over 50% per employee. They had a goal, they smashed it. This was now used to show their progression as a company in their tender submissions. And they were winning more work because they could prove their progress. So, with the supportive community that collaborates together, there's confidence in the information which you have, and there's a solid foundation to step up to the next level.
So we've defined what net zero does or doesn't mean, but how do you understand the process to get there with so many different starting points? And we already know that people are confused about where to start. So with the Clearly Net Zero Masterclass, we give you the opportunity to reframe that thinking, to stop the scattergun approach of we'll try this, we'll try that, we'll see if it works, and to start moving forward with a structure and a purpose.
So, do you know how much energy you've used over the last year? Or have you actually used less than last year? If you've used less, can you work out how much you have added to your cash flow? We need to be able to measure energy and carbon use.
Yeah, but it's not always easy, and we understand that. The bigger the client, the longer the timeline, the more complex the transition, and being able to measure accurately. It'll always be true, but what we need to do is start somewhere. Everybody needs to gather that data, whatever you can get, and build that baseline, and we help you do that.
So, on top of that, looking at another client, they've got a holiday lodge company, and they've over 1,000 holiday lodges with, did I say 100 or did I say 1,000?
1,000, yeah.
1,000, yes, I was right.
With so many different
yes.
meter types.
We only have one option to start with this volume of data. We have to automate the collection of data, even just at the site level to start with. Then we can start to group the sites together according to what the business operations are. So all of the holiday parks are grouped together, all of the commercial shops are grouped together, all of the office units are grouped together. This helps us to make comparisons between groups. Let's have a look at the holiday parks. How do you measure a 300 lodge site with a 100 lodge site? In this case, we need to have the right way of measuring difference, and maybe even allocate a correction factor that helps quantify the average age of the lodges and how they're insulated. You need to be able to measure apples with apples, and then different sites can start to compete with each other to reduce the level of energy usage. This is what we call business intelligence in action, and it helps you to make the right decisions for the right job. Each solution is individual, and you need to know how to assess your own business.
And this is just one of the kind of solution steps that we discuss in the masterclass. There's a lot more to come, and you need to be there to see it.
Okay, so more from you guys. What energy saving solutions have you already installed? I've done a little tick list for you, and yeah, it might be missing stuff, but this is just to get a little bit of feedback to see what you guys are already doing.
Okay, so let's have a look at the answers as they come in. Yep, so we've got some people doing solar, more insulation, what other? Air source, yeah.
Okay. I think it's moved off the bottom of the screen. Oh, yes.
Yeah, so it's interesting that people have gone straight in with the renewable options. I'd love to know whether you've done all the thermal efficiency work beforehand before you've gone to that option, or was it a case of, you know, Dave in the pub said, stick some solar on, you'll make some money. And you know, that it does make you money and it does save you money, but let's get real about whether you're putting a renewable option in before having done all the groundwork to make sure that your building is thermally efficient beforehand. Because as the title of this webinar is, this is the year that we stop throwing money down the drain. You know, we don't want you to be trying to heat the outside world or cool the outside world because you've got the heating or the aircon on and the windows open. You know, we want you to stop setting fire to your own cash and keep it in your business. So there's a lot we need to kind of find out behind that, but it's great to see that people have done some of the more carbon reducing technologies as well as the small stuff as well.
Just picking up on one thing you said, Laura.
Yeah.
How many times have you walked into an office and the wall of heat hits you?
Yeah, like stepping off a plane.
Oh, yeah.
Which we don't do because we don't travel by plane ever.
Well, enough said.
We all do some things. We just have to do the right things in the right places.
Yes, not a problem. But yeah, it's this wall of heat, and you know the person on reception has got a fan running because it's so hot. Yeah. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Or she's too cold because they've only got one entrance door, which every time somebody walks past and it opens, she's freezing or he's freezing.
Yeah.
So they need a heater. Yeah.
It's all of these contradictory things, but they can be worked on to make it comfortable and cost efficient for the individuals. That's one reason why I put into the slide individual heat pads. Well,
Everyone likes a warm bum.
Yeah, I'm sitting on one.
I didn't get one.
Well, that's because she's special.
But it is true, though, men and women feel the cold differently, and I've worked in lots of different offices where you'll find that some of the ladies are a lot warmer than some of the men, and there's no agreement on temperature, there's no agreement on air conditioning. So think about who and how the office is going to be laid out, you know, who's going to sit where, as well as just the building fabric. You know, you need to think about the people that are actually inside as well.
Yeah, and that little heat pad is actually one of the most efficient ways of transferring heat to one individual instead of heating the whole room. So it's there's other solutions as well, but it's getting it right for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in the process, saving the money, because, you know, otherwise somebody leaves the door open because it gets too hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So getting down to some of the detail of actually how we calculate your carbon footprint on the masterclass. John's going to run through this bit.
Yes, this is a snapshot of the dashboard which we use. It gathers information from all sorts of places, all sorts of meters, which are scattered around your buildings. And the more that we can automate it, the simpler it becomes for you. But the big thing is, on the left-hand side, you've got this measurement for the last period, and then on the going right, the measurement for this period. So it actually shows you how, you know, by comparison, say to last year, or the footprint might be 2 years ago or 3 years ago. But what we're effectively trying to do is show you how you are progressing.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of different metrics you can use. The dashboard is customizable for your business.
Yes.
You can have different intensity metrics and performance indicators on there. And as part of the onboarding process with the masterclass, we will go through all this with you, how to input the data and what widgets are going to work best for your business.
Yes.
So it's not a one size fits all. Nothing that we do is ever one size fits all. But this is the best program we've found to be able to adapt to your situation and show it not only business by business, but project by project as well. Which when people have already started on the journey and are trying to identify whether one project, say putting solar in, is going to be better than, say, putting ground source in, you can weigh out the different options and see where the carbon benefits are going to be.
Yes. So, right tools for the right job.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep on going.
Is it me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go.
So in terms of addressing some of the mistakes that we do see in other client businesses, a lot of companies tend to just follow what others are doing, and that's not necessarily wrong, but just by pointing a finger in roughly the right direction and pulling the trigger on an idea doesn't necessarily make it the right idea for your business. But then who's going to take responsibility for that action? It has to start with the business directors, as we've said before, and the responsibility to complete those changes then needs to be allocated within different levels of the organisation so that everybody's involved. The path and the timescales can change as long as the goal stays the same. And by working together in the masterclass, we will have that accountability of whether you are sticking to those goals. And if you measure that change, then you can use the results to demonstrate your progress in your plan to succeed. So what is your plan? You plan to improve. What is your business model? And do those two things tie together? And the timescales, have you maintained that progression over the time that we work together within the masterclass? Also, do your employees know what the action plan is? Because that's really important to be able to communicate this information. And again, that's something you will learn on the program. But if they don't know why or how they need to do these things, they're going to push against it. They're going to start questioning why. So if you're able to go to them with this idea and this project and say, this is why we need to do it, because ultimately you're securing their job for the future. If your business goes out of business, that's their job gone. So if you demonstrate that you're creating a sustainable business for the future, you're a much more appealing workplace to be in.
Yeah. So if we look at, well, it's actually becoming a requirement. Very large companies like the NHS, like local councils, they are now requiring that everybody who supplies business to them or contracts for them has to provide SECR data and a green business plan to win those tenders. So if you are one of the people who can provide that data and can provide it in fine detail, then actually you are at the top few percent at the moment, because very few other companies are actually doing this. This masterclass solution provides you with that data and with the business plan to meet your tendering requirements. So you will have the tools to succeed and grow. Again, let me be blunt. This is not a one-off tick box process where you say, oh yeah, I've already got that. This is an ongoing, repeated process to show development and business resilience. Whenever the requirements come in for the bigger SME clients, they will be expected, just like the big guys, to be able to provide this information every single year. This is your new normal.
Yeah, absolutely.
So everyone wants to do more business. Do you know how to access favourable green finance? because they will be asking for this information. Do you know how to get the best score on your tender applications? Because they will be asking for this data. Without a carbon baseline and carbon business plan, you will be failing to help you make money.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter if your contract price is really low, because currently the NHS, for example, have actually stated if you do not have this information in your tender plan, you've failed. You will not be in you will have no chance of winning that tender because you failed to meet their tender requirements.
Yeah.
The aim of this masterclass is to show you how well you are progressing and how your business is becoming more resilient.
Because let's face it, a sustainable business is one that is still in business in 10, 15, 20 years from now. And that's what we want to see more than anything.
Yeah. So we hope you found it useful to learn about what we'll be covering in the masterclass. So let's tell you a bit more, a few more details for joining and how the program works. As mentioned throughout, the masterclass program is designed to help businesses work together in an effective way. The masterclass is both in person and remote, so half and half. We feel it's important for business owners and directors to step out of their business occasionally and meet other professionals who are on the same journey. Likewise, it's important to focus on your own business-specific goals, and that is why the masterclass will alternate so that you've got time to work by yourself, but also interacting with other people.
And we obviously know the masterclass program works, otherwise we wouldn't have put a 12-month guaranteed saving or your money back statement to it. But it's not enough for us to just say that and for you to take our word for it. So here's a quote from one of our clients. And I've worked with this hotel for at least a decade now, and I can categorically state that they have made so many improvements. Not fancy things, not renewable technologies, although they would like to, but they've implemented simple, accessible, because they're all on the market, solutions for that business, and they've had the data to back it up. They have won awards for how environmentally committed they are, and they just continue to move forward year on year by small steps. But those small steps save them a lot of money.
Yeah, that's what really hits hard.
Yeah.
They've saved money.
Yeah, definitely.
So on the slides, there's quite a bit more detail,
yeah.
But you can find all of it on our website, clearlynetzero.com.
Yeah, the classes are limited to 10 businesses working together. We feel that's the optimum amount to get the most out of the process. The monthly classes will allow participants to develop their individual solutions, as well as working together to think about things that they hadn't really thought about before.
Yes. Also included is a subscription to the business intelligence software for the next year. And then on top of that, we haven't mentioned this before, the results from the data which you actually collect, those results are externally audited and verified to show progress each year. So you're not talking about a bit of fluff.
No.
It's something which somebody else has said, yes, these guys are doing the right job.
Yeah. So to make sure that this is the right solution for you, we're offering a Clearly Net Zero Masterclass evaluation call, which can be booked on the Calendly link, or head to calendly.com/clearlynetzero/join us. The sessions are limited. Booking slots are over the next 2 and a bit days.
Yes.
It's first come, first serve, but it gives you a chance to ask any other questions and to find out if this is the right solution for you. Because as much as we want you there, if it's not the right time, you know, there's other considerations to make. We want the best clients in those cohorts for everyone else in the group.
Yes. So, if you've got any other questions, we're now going to go into a Q&A session, and, well, you can ask whatever you want.
Yeah, so follow the Slido link and type away.
Yes.
And if there aren't any other questions, we will see you on the masterclass on the next cohort.
Yes. So please give us a call, and we'll chat and make sure that everything's right for you.
Yeah.
So
thanks a lot.
Until the next time.
Bye.
Bye.